You are listening to Mining Stock Education.
So this is an individual new discovery that we've made off of our own data that we collected back in 2015, 2016. And there's a lot of money that's been spent here by us. And there's a lot of value in the quality of data that we've done in a lot of the areas and being proactive as we're starting to get traction in the communities.
Thanks for tuning in to Mining Stock Education. I'm your host, Bill Powers, and in today's show, we're going to be getting an update from one of our sponsors, Coppernico Metals, and its founder and chair and CEO, Ivan Bebek. Ivan, thanks for coming back on the show. Now, you confused me with this recent press release because we've talked about optimizing the Sombrero holdings and you let go of some of them, but you said you've expanded the Sombrero holdings in this press release. Why did you do this?
Oh, sure. Well, first off, we can't tip our hat on all the cards. And right now, the area's heated up quite a bit. There's a major and a few mid-size explorers in the region that are looking at ground and exploring near us. And so as we've dropped a lot of ground that we've deemed not significant to us in terms of technical or accessible socially, we've found some new things, as you've seen here. And they're quite spectacular in terms of scale. It's very early days, but it's resonating with the kind of caliber of a target we're looking for. And so we will continue to optimize our land position. We know a lot more about this region than we're obviously going to share publicly because we're being very competitive as first movers in the district. As you saw in our recent press release, we have 17 standalone targets. This is really hard to get your head around. Each one is measuring 1 to 3 kilometers in scale, which is substantial compared to most exploration targets. And to have this many in one company is also a mind bend. How can one junior have this many targets? 10 years and about $50 million spent is how we got here, as you know. Perseverance was one of the key ingredients, believing that we might be extending a major copper gold mining trend that hosts mines, as we've all said, such as Las Bambas, Tintaya, Constancia. So we're first movers. The thesis early on when we acquired this originally with Oren was that we were extending a world-class belt. And what we've done since then is we've identified 17 different potential individual standalone significant discoveries in our land position. Dropping the extra ground, you don't get paid for having a lot of ground. You get paid for having the right ground. I think we touched on that previously. And we're super excited about this target. We've got more surface work being done on it as we speak, more results coming. But geologically, it's starting to measure up with interest to some of the other targets we have and will be one of our top priorities going forward.
And you named it the Rumi target. Am I saying that right? R-U-M-I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's located east-southeast of the Tipicancha target within the general project area. Did your team do the reconnaissance and initial exploration work here, or did another party do it and you purchased the access off of them?
Yeah. We had some data from an original Bebek survey that we did. Bebek is where you go down to the drainages of a lot of topography. You go down to the creeks, you go down about a foot and you take the icing sugar granular data to see if there's elevated minerals of consequence. And in the case of here, of what we saw something that was indicating there could be the potential for copper gold system here. And in the bigger survey that was over 800,000 hectares. And Tim Kingsley, our VP of exploration, him and his team recognized that and they followed up on that and they started to go and walk the ground. And they were super surprised and super excited. So this is an individual new discovery that we've made off of our own data that we collected back in 2015, 2016. And, there's a lot of money that's been spent here by us, and there's a lot of value in the quality of data that we've done in a lot of the areas and being proactive as we're starting to get traction in the communities. This project specifically, Rumi, sits in the Saskamarca community where we've had short-term agreements before. There's a very positive, connection with them and us, and what we've done so far with the agricultural programs and the jobs we've created in the first community and now are working into new ones is really resonating across the region. And there's a lot of interest from neighboring communities for two parts. One is obviously we have a sustainable social benefit that's led by agriculture, which is something that they can carry on long beyond a discovery or complement a mining scenario being activated later. And secondly, the job creation and, having over 100 jobs provided in 12 months, now we're beyond that as we're hiring new people in neighboring communities is something we're very proud of. And it's working both ways. we're starting to get more access. Permits are moving forward, and now we're identifying some of the best targets we can as a junior globally. I'm not aware of other juniors with this many standalone as we enter the bull market in copper. Copper's been exciting for about 5 years, 10 years. We saw it coming, but now, as far as talking about copper, it's finally acting. It's performing by its actions by moving through $5 spot recently here a few days ago. And I think the next 2 years, you're going to see a massive move in the copper price, which will be at the same time we're starting to drill most of our high priority targets, both hidden and as well as some very, very obvious targets that we've all wanted to drill since day one.
At Rumi, is there bedrock outcroppings, and do you plan to take samples of that in terms of channel samples?
Yes, we're getting exposure through the lithocap. We're seeing it. So we do have some outcrop exposure, but a lot of results coming there shortly. And I'll let the press release when those come out speak for themselves. You saw a bit of smoke in the first one, very strong indications, very good geological model that there could be potentially a big system right underneath that cap. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think the target's going to get a lot stronger before we get to the next phase, which will be, getting ready to permit and drill it and put it into our pipeline.
With your current permit application, that would not include the Rumi target, would it?
No, we have a community access agreement to complete, which is underway. And then shortly after that, we will be applying for a permit. And just to give an update on permits, I'm glad you brought that topic up. It's been the decade-long topic here. We are about to file our major permit for the Furaso, Cascabamba to Picancha areas. That's about to go in here in the next week or two. We'll put a press release out when that's done. And we're working on additional permits in additional community access agreements in the Neok area, as well as down in this area. So we're starting to get a lot of activity in our pipeline. Our share price has started to reflect that as we get into the permits in before year end and we start to see things evolve with the communities. There's going to be a lot of news coming out of some of the targets we've talked about. More results from Neok are pending. Results from Rumi are pending. More results from Picancha are pending. And we're going to do a few more surveys in the Cascabamba area to give us much better resolution. And that's an important factor to pay attention to, because when we drilled those first 20 holes, everyone was of the opinion, they didn't hit it. It's not there. There's a lot of hype and it didn't work out. It's definitely there. It's a big skarn system, but in skarn systems that we've all identified that they're quite tricky and they're quite narrow and specific, and they can carry significant grade. We are going to apply a few different geophysical techniques, such as gravity and a different magnetic survey than was done previously in the coming months here, to give us potentially some significant targets or confidence of where we were vectoring towards. And we may be able to drill as early as mid Q1, and while we wait for the bigger permits for Furaso and Neok expected in Q2, sometime late Q2 of next year. So a lot has changed since we spoke last. We're seeing a lot of really good traction with both communities and with permits. We're getting through some permitting steps a lot quicker than we anticipated, and that's really positive. I believe there's been a shift in Peru with increased metal prices. There's a desire to move things forward, but for us, it's been the social presence, it's been the agricultural programs and the jobs that we've been able to create, and also the reputation that we've carried so far. We have not had a safety incident since 2000. We've been there in 2015, and we've had no issues with anyone. We've been great citizens. We've educated these communities with exploration and the minimal impact it has, and we've been able to do that in a very collaborative effort and create great partnerships with these communities, and we're doing that with neighboring ones. There are some targets that were quite consequential in our early days when we looked at Sombrero with Oren, just north of Neok, Antapampa, Totora, in new communities. And these areas are now starting to come to the table for us as far as the communities wanting to move forward. And, we're going to have a very, very active pipeline as we go into this next move up in the marketplace. A lot more surface results, a lot more permit advancements to really drive the speculation and the share price. I'm just starting to get out on the road. I've been on a couple road shows so far, conferences. I head to New Orleans on Sunday, and then the following Sunday I'll be in Zurich, and then I'll continue with a lot of in-person marketing in New York after that, because things are starting to pick up a lot. The catalyst is quite heavy, and there's about 6 or 7 press releases that we can see coming out between now and the end of January. So, and very exciting, impactful ones.
Ivan, you've mentioned project acquisition in the States in order to drill year round and not rely only on Peru. Any update you can provide here?
Yeah, so we can drill year round in Peru, and we're just being selective with targets and making sure we're not drilling ahead of our data. But in the U.S., it was to drill in lieu of waiting for permits in Peru, which are finally moving ahead. We have 3 high priority targets in the U.S. We are still in the due diligence stage there, and we're learning more about them, but it's still a very high consideration on our part. We'd love to have presence in the U.S., as we've discussed in previous interviews, is still on the list, but right now, Sombrero's really getting a lot more active than we anticipated here in the last few months. And so we're going to focus here and keep a close eye on, see if one of those ones come to fruition, but everything's on the table. And so right now it's at an exciting juncture where we're finding new things. We're seeing more strength in the targets we like, and we should have pretty good permit advancement here in the next few months.
All right. Coppernico Metals is a show sponsor. Website is CoppernicoMetals.com. Trades in the States under CPPMF, and in Toronto on the big board under COPR. Ivan, thank you for this update, and be safe on the road.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.